Hello, everybody. I hope you can hear me. This is Fiona Beale speaking from SchoolNet. And I'd like to thank you for joining us on today's webinar, which I'll be hosting. We're very pleased to introduce our guest speaker, Ronelle Klink, a Microsoft educator expert, as well as a Microsoft teacher ambassador based in Johannesburg. I've asked Ronelle to put her video on so you can see her, but she'll turn it off afterwards for bandwidth reasons. So Ronelle's entitled her webinar, A Roadmap for Teacher Professional Development. In her webinar description, Ronelle states that she's always been passionate about supporting teachers in their professional development journey. And she was very struck by an online article she read written by Jessica Piper on the topic of professional development. Jessica claims in the article that a professional development session can either leave a teacher feeling knowledgeable and excited, or it can leave them feeling like the session was a waste of their time. This article caused Ronelle to reflect on her own professional development journey and on how she supports others in their journey. So in this webinar, Ronelle is going to share ideas and best practice on how to curate a professional development portfolio, and she'll give tips to ensure that professional development sessions are designed meaningfully. That sounds very exciting, Ronelle. So over to you.
As Fiona said, I'm very passionate about teacher professional development, and I wanted to share this with a wider audience. I didn't just want to focus on teachers per se, but I wanted to also speak to those people who support teachers. I don't like the word train teachers because we're not training teachers, we're supporting teachers. And that's really what I'm passionate about. And I wanted to share some of my experience with you. As a teacher ambassador at Microsoft, we go around the country supporting teachers in the use of Office 365. But as you know, it's much more than that. So those are the kinds of things that I'm going to be talking through today. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the article that Fiona mentioned as well. And you can go and look up the article, but I don't want you to focus on the 5 don'ts for teacher professional development, because what struck me was the opening or introductory paragraph there. A professional development session can leave a teacher feeling knowledgeable and excited. Wow, yes, that's wonderful. But on the negative, feel like the session was a waste of their time. And I try my best for people not to walk out of a session feeling like that. I know when you have a session, you can feel very overwhelmed because there's lots of information. So I like to do professional development in bite sizes and sort of scaffold the sessions as well. And that's really why I'm doing the session on teacher professional development today. It's really about this article that I came across. Now, I mean, as you know, there's lots and lots of information out there regarding professional development and the continuous professional development of teachers. I wanted to focus specifically on PD sessions and then PD portfolios. Why PD sessions? People who support teachers. And then why PD portfolios? It's really about the teachers. And marketing yourself and branding yourself. I'll talk a lot about that towards the end of this webinar as well. Right, so the first thing I want to talk about in terms of PD sessions is added value. So how do you add value? If you're supporting teachers in their teacher development and you're providing a webinar or you're providing face-to-face training or whatever the case may be, make sure that you're adding value. How do you add that value? Harvey S. Firestone is quoted as saying, the growth and development of people is the highest calling. And I really come from a place of being really genuine when I'm training. And I'm in that space and people have allowed me into their space and allowed me to share that time with them. Whether I'm teaching young adults or supporting teachers, creating and adding value in their development is important to me. PD sessions should not be planned every time something is new. Lots of people, oh, I've heard about this new tool or this new app. Let's do some staff development, or, let's make up for meeting time or whatever. That's really not what professional development should be or how it should be run. It really should be driven from the learner up. A learner's experiencing a problem or a challenge, and then the teacher needs to find some way in which to help or assist that teacher. And that's where professional development should stem from, I think. I'll give you an example. If you are supporting teachers and you're providing a workshop on how to create a digital campaign, as an example, make it specific to that school. Talk about the challenges or cyberbullying at that school or whatever. Whatever you're going to use within that presentation, within your training, make sure that it's contextualized and it's customized to that specific school. When I work with schools, I'll give you an example, like Margaret Tracy, for example, at Hillcrest High School in Durban. When I visited the first time we spoke wasn't about, oh yeah, I've got Office 365 and it's free for teachers, and I'd like to come do some training. We didn't approach it like that at all. So your PD sessions need to add value. And as I said, when I visit a school as a teacher ambassador, that first conversation that we have is normally about what are the needs of the school, what sort of support does the teachers need, and then we try and find tools or Microsoft apps that would help or provide a solution for that school as well. So adding value for me is one of the key things that you should be looking at in your PD sessions, and not just covering anything just because it's a new tool. Have that conversation. Why? Why are you actually providing professional development at that particular school, etc.? Then the next thing is teacher voices. Teacher voices for me, we are all professionals, and I've worked with thousands of teachers, and we need to be treated as professionals. And the reason why I say that is, if you speak to someone like a lawyer or an engineer, depending on where they're from, they tend to look down at teachers. And I believe that we are all the same. We are all professionals, etc. On the Microsoft Educator community that I'll talk about later, there's Skype sessions so that you and your class, teacher in a class, can visit anyone globally, anywhere around the world. Why not have Skype sessions just on professionals and building professional development? And I'm saying that because engineers could show teachers value, maths teachers, for example, how to change or adapt their lesson, how to calculate the force if they were building a bridge that the bridge needs to withstand, or the weight it needs to support. So teacher voices need to be heard a lot more. And I hear the buzz, whenever I'm doing training, people will walk in and say, oh, the headmaster said we've got to be here, etc. And I really, for me, it's such an important thing, because it comes back to that value again. Teachers' voices really need to be heard. And the time and resources that teachers input in professional development sessions, it really needs to be exciting. So if they're attending a professional development session, it should be something that is more inquiry based. So you've got a problem, how are we going to solve it? And as you navigate and scaffold that during the session, that's where the interest comes about as well. Collaborating with other professionals and so forth as well. Like I said, an example would be to set up Skype sessions with experts, but exclude the learners. It's about the professional development of teachers as well. So PD sessions also need to build a community. Now, for me, having that camaraderie, amongst my fellow TAs is really important, because those are the people who are my sounding board. Now, one of my colleagues are not in that photo, Benolo. And Benolo and I use each other as a sounding board. So I'll say to her, you know, that training session didn't really go as I hoped. And I did X, Y, and Z. What do you think? What advice would you give me? And she does the same with me. And that community is really, really important for me. Look for a community where you feel like you belong and you can share your experiences. And yes, share the good, but also share your challenges, because that's really where we're going to start learning from each other as well. So one of the ways in which we teacher ambassadors is really to promote this professional development community is through the Microsoft Educator community. And this is a free educator portal that any teacher can access around the world, and it's free. Education.microsoft.com. And I want to show you what that looks like. And if you could just confirm that you can see my screen. So if anyone could just let me know that you can see my screen. So currently I'm showing you the website of the Microsoft Educator community. Okay, I see Pretty is typing. Okay, Michael says he's got it. And Vanolo, thank you. So this is what the portal looks like. Anyone can sign up. And when you sign up and you've got an Office 365 account, you can use that account or the same details, the same email address and password to connect to the Microsoft Educator community. Or you could then also sign up with any other free email address that you have. You may have a live account that you created on Microsoft or whatever the case may be. But all you need is an email address and then you can connect. And I'm looking at these various courses now, and what I like about what they've introduced to the educator community is learning paths. Because, you know, some people, when I expose them to this during our professional development sessions, they would say, Renal, but where do I start? There's so many things. And I really like the learning path, the pathway. So it will say, you know, start with teaching with technology, and then this is recommended. Maybe you should start on OneNote and Sway. So I think your best point is to really start with learning pathways. That's my suggestion. But there's so many other ways in which you could use this to build a community. On the left-hand side here, I hope you can see it, is all the different ways in which you can make use of this portal. As an example, you could see on the left-hand side, you could connect with other educators. You could even share lesson plans. And I know not everyone will feel confident to share your lesson plans, but I promise you this community is really, you know, so good. And I've shared my lesson plans and so forth as well. And it's a nice sounding board again to get feedback. There's Skype in the classroom, and anything that's, you know, like I'm a professional development junkie. I love learning new things. And then another thing that draws our interest as teachers specifically is that you can add, you can get points and certificates and so forth as well. But not just within this community, you can then count that towards your SACE points as well. And I know lots of schools are building that into their appraisal systems and so forth as well. So really make use of this educator community. Like I said, it's free. Then another thing that I want to draw to your attention, those of you who are listening, I know lots of you are MIEs. If you'd like to reapply, etc., I'm also taking you to that. I'll share this link with you as well. But you can see, if you don't know about the MIE program, it's really an application that you make to show how you've used any tool in Office 365, and then you're going to nominate yourself. And it takes you through step by step. You've got to sign up on the educator community, and then you've got to make sure that you do various courses up to 1,000 points that you need to earn. And I promise you, earning those 1,000 points is really, really easy, because doing one of those courses could give you 500 points. And it's really, really quick. It's not something that you need to spend a whole day on or whatever. It's really, really quick. And then lastly, from the educator community, you're then going to use your profile. You're going to get a link. And in order to get that link, you're going to click on your profile picture, go to edit profile, and that will bring up your unique URL. And you've got to share that when you go to your nomination. And you're going to upload your video, your sway, a link to your sway, or whatever the case that you've created. The MIE Expert program is phenomenal because you get invited to local and national and international conferences and so forth as well. It's a lovely space, once again, to really think about your professional development and build your brand as well. Okay, so I'm back at my presentation now. If you could just let me know if you can see that. Okay, I see Pretty. Okay, thanks, Pretty. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to share with you is professional development portfolio. You know, like I said, I'm a bit of a junkie when it comes to learning new things. And I thought about this a while back, and I had all this information. I've got a whole lot of notebooks where I've written down notes when I've attended conferences and so forth. And you know, from time to time, I think about, oh, you know, I've got this challenge when I'm doing a professional development as a TA, and I go back to those notebooks. And really, your professional development is really a plan in which you collect evidence, curate it over time. It clearly defines where you are going and what you need to do in order to get there. You know, I'm one that's very passionate about professional development and working with teachers. And I have so many pictures of all over the, you know, from when I was at Tandawazi and what I did there. And you can see some of my pictures are from there as well. And I love it when people share this through social media with me and what they've done in their classes and what the development that I've provided for them. And it really shows value. It helps keep you on track. Your portfolio is going to help keep you on track. And then I would suggest towards the end of the year, you'll see at the end of my presentation, Fiona will also share this with you. I've also given you lots of links where you can download templates of PD portfolios. And it has a space for reflection, and you can go back to things that didn't work in your lessons or in your professional development sessions or whatever the case is. But I would really urge you to start curating this content. And you probably have all this, you just need to put it together. And how you put it together digitally or hard copy is entirely up to you. So why create a PD portfolio? A PD portfolio is really there as your visual CV. These days, I mean, if someone had to do a web search on Ronelle Klink, most of the stuff that is going to come up is webinars that I've done previously, conferences that I've presented at, and so forth. And you really want to, like I said, build your personal brand through that as well. It's a visual CV. You can create videos and so forth as well. And you can start sharing. You can start sharing that through the Microsoft Educator community as well. Like I said, you don't have to necessarily make your PD portfolio electronic, but I would suggest that you do. You know, it's a lovely way for you to then reuse that information if you want to apply for a job or whatever. There's lots of visuals that you could include there as well. One of those things that you could do, you could scan notes from your learners. I'm sure you've all got, you know, cards that they've written, or create a collage of photos of best lessons that you've used and so forth as well. And a lovely free tool that you could use is OneNote. And I'm sure you all know about OneNote. OneNote could be used to curate your PD portfolio. You could put links, and you could create little videos inside there, and those kinds of things, reminders and so forth as well, from conferences that you've attended and so forth as well. Now, one of those things that I wanted to share with you today is I've shared the Microsoft Educator community, but something that's really, really exciting is Mahala. So can you just let me know? Charmaine says OneNote is awesome. I absolutely agree with you. So can you see my screen? Yes, yay. Okay, thanks, Michael. So what Mahala is, it's a partnership between the Department of Education and Microsoft. And I would really encourage you to spread the word and let your learners know that they can get Office for free by logging on to this. So it's anyone between the ages of 8 and 22. If you click on register, it will take you to this page where you're going to complete all your details. And then you'll see once you start typing in your school name, it will then pop up and so forth. And there's a whole lot of details. If someone is quite little, like an 8 or a 9-year-old, I would suggest their parents do this with them. But it's such a phenomenal way in which to get free Office. And you can see we were just at a college today promoting Mahala, and the students were all really chuffed that you can get 1 terabyte free storage. And you know what learners are like; they love to curate their videos and songs and those kinds of things and music. So it's a lovely way. So you're going to click on register, like I said, and then you're going to complete all these details. And then in order to log in, you're going to use your username at mahala.ms and then the password that you've decided to use. And I'm not going to do all of that now, but once you've done that, your page is going to look very similar to the page that I'm sharing with you now. It will have all the free tools and apps like Word, PowerPoint, OneNote, and OneDrive as well. And I want to draw your attention to install software. Now, I know lots of you that are logged on today, like Putty, I'm sure you know this as well. If you've got Office 365, you can then download Office, the latest Office 2016 onto your computer for free. So Mahala allows you to do the exact same thing. Once you logged in and you registered, you can then download Word or download OneNote, etc. But like I said, even if you downloaded OneNote on your device, it is free, and you would sign in with the details that you've created on Mahala. And it's really something really that we're really proud of, and it's such an exciting feature. So please, if you're not using Office 365 at your school, or your learners would love to use OneNote or Word at home or whatever, this is a lovely way for them to use it for free. And it's such an exciting partnership. All the links, like I said, will be shared in my presentation as well. And I'm just looking at the time. Fiona, I'm not sure if you've got some time for questions. If anyone wants to ask questions about professional development or about Mahala, let me know. I see Pretty typing away. Okay, Charmaine says, okay, you're fine. So Michael is saying that any student between the ages of 8 and 25 could sign up. Thanks, Michael. No, they do not need to have an Office 365 account. This could be for everyone. So as long as you are a student or learner at a college or at a school, you'd be able to use Mahala. Thanks, Manolo, for answering some of the questions as well. Guys, I'm so pleased that you're all asking questions about Mahala because I'm very excited about this.
I think that's the end of the...
So, are you finished now, Ronelle? Sorry, I lost sound for a short while.
Yeah, there's lots of questions about Mahala. So, Charmaine, you're welcome. Okay. And then before I finish, I just wanted to leave you with this quote. A great teacher is like a fountain. They draw from the still, deep waters of personal growth and professional knowledge to serve others from the abundant overflow. And continue with the good work that you guys are doing. And like I said, please get the word out there about Mahala.ms to log on to Mahala and get that free office. Bye, everyone.
Well, thank you very much, Ronelle. Thank you so much.